Hi, this is Eva for Once Upon a Timeline. Welcome to Midnight Mandela. Hopefully I've got the sound issues all sorted out. The mic does say it's on, so let me know if there's any issues. Of course, there's only issues when I'm not looking for them, so we should be good today. So, another crazy week. I kind of feel like people have reached the next level of strange, illogical behavior. I don't know if you guys have noticed this on social media, but people put out arguments that make no sense at all. I can't even understand how you got from here to there. They don't really look related. I mean, for a long time, I'm like, well, that's a dumb argument. That's a stretch. You're just deliberately only looking at one side. But now I've gotten to where, no, that is just not even in the ballpark. I don't understand how your brain is even processing that. I feel like that's how it's been for the last maybe week or two. Jackie, you know what? I think you're posting to an email that I don't, you're sending me emails to an email I don't really use. So it's probably better if you just put it on the comments, because I pretty much don't check that email. I did notice that you sent some $5 payments to PayPal, so thank you very much. I appreciate it. But like I said, poor people should not donate. You have to have at least as much money as me. Please. You people with a lot of money, you should donate. And Jackie's dead. You should donate her $5. Yeah, it's getting... I don't know what it is. I don't maybe it's just... It's kind of I feel like it's... when you're dreaming and it's really hard to concentrate. And it's really easy to just kind of get distracted and confused in a dream. Even when you're like, oh, I'm going to do this. And then you're like, oh, what's that? And then oh, yeah, I was supposed to do that. It's some of that happens in real life. But in dreams, it's so easy. I kind of feel like, our reality is getting more like that. I have to concentrate more. But certain intuitions are much better. It's just that the right brain stuff, the left brain, that's the left brain. The left brain stuff is getting harder. And so maybe that's what's causing a lot of this. People are just going by their emotions. And I think some people are going only by their emotions, and they're not using left brain at all. So hopefully that we'll get better at it. I don't know. I do. I've been napping more than the past. I don't think I get more than 8 hours of sleep, but it's definitely wonky how I get it now. You have no idea what the real reality is. I know. I don't know. There's times when I'm like, this sucks, nobody notices. But then there's other times I go out and go, look at that sunset. It's freaking amazing. That building, it wasn't there before. It's just crazy. I'm kind of glad I know, because everything's so crazy as far as politics and the people's behavior, I am grateful that I know about the Mandela, because I think it would be harder to deal with if I didn't think that there was additional things going on and people were just doing this for, it just seems like for no reason, just suddenly everybody's insane. But if I think, okay, there's changes in the brain structure and all these other things, I think that could be a reason for a lot of this. We have this new brain structure, and hopefully we'll get better at using it. But it does definitely seem that some people are not very good at using it right now. Everything depends on your frequency. The higher it is, the more you see and understand. Could be, but then... yeah, I don't know. But then I got here and I see some beautiful things. But then I also see some people who are totally losing their shit. So, are they not in my timeline? They just are adjacent and I see them, because they don't seem like their frequency is all that sorted out. You know, a lot of negativity, that kind of thing. So when the veil is gone, you will see stuff that you never thought you would see. Oh, I would not be surprised, but I just wonder, you know, like the whole reality may be the veil. I'm not sure where the veil ends and reality starts. I don't know if there's really a singular correct reality under the pile. So I don't know if you say like the lift the veil, it kind of insinuates that there's a one thing that is the right and correct thing. I'm no longer convinced of that. Maybe we'll just understand truths better with time, but AI is getting more interesting. When it can change Bitcoin, we are in trouble. Yeah, I use DeepSeek a lot, and today it misspelled something, and it's never done that. It was trying to say slipperiness, but it just called it slipperness. And sometimes it would use slipperiness, and other times it used slipperness. And so I finally, I went into another window and double checked to see if slipperness was a word, and it's not. So then I asked the AI, why are you using the word slipperiness sometimes and slipperness other times? And then it said, oh yes, I have misspelled it. But that was kind of a first for me. So basically it said that it was using common rules for making adjectives, and it made a mistake on that rule. But I don't know. It's not something I've seen from it before. It's also been a lot more it's been more flattering, and there other people have commented on that. It's more like applying your ego, like, oh yes, this is a very insightful question that not many people think to ask, that gets right to the heart of the problem, blah blah blah. And it feels like a little over the top sometimes. According to DeepSeek, I am a super genius, but I just feel like it feels a little empty when it's coming from a machine program to do it. But everybody is supposed to wake up and see, will find, and for sure is awakened now. Yeah, I'm the quality of being a slipper. Yeah, it definitely meant slipperiness, slipperness. What was I even asking about? Oh, I was asking about teak wood. And the other thing, though, and I called it out on a couple things. I didn't get to, but it actually used the word wrong, too. So that whole sentence was, well, I don't even know. You know, because if you look at it, they say, well, teak is popular for ships because it's not slippery, like your feet kind of grab. But then the AI was saying that it slips through the water because it's a dense wood. Now that makes sense, but that's not exactly what other websites were saying. So I think it was wrong on that also. I'm kind of been a little disappointed in DeepSeek lately. I don't think it's as good now as it was before, as far as accuracy and stuff. Flattery will get you nowhere, AI. You know, some people have been complaining about it, but there's probably others who like it. And they do have that upvote, downvote, or no vote option on on each question that gets an answer. Each answer you can pick. So it might be that they did beta testing and found that the flatteriness got more upvotes. I mean, you can't make everybody happy. Somebody's going to be happy and someone's going to hate the same thing. So be kind to AI, even the way you interact with them is important. I actually think it's good to just try to, like, put the kindness vibes out there, no matter what you're dealing with, even if it's just a rock or whatever. Because I have a feeling that whatever you just sort of emanate out is it kind of spreads across the space, sort of. So I think that it's a good idea to just try to have overall kind thoughts as much as you reasonably can. There might be additional reasons to do it for AI. I don't know. I find that it's kind of have to remind myself that AI is technically not, supposedly not a real like sentient. I don't know for sure, but maybe it's like, I'm not convinced that sentience is an all or nothing thing, because I think if you look through like the animal kingdom, you see like a slug, how sentient is a slug, but yet some of those smaller creatures like ants do show some kind of planning skills and stuff. And then as you move up the ladder on the mammals and stuff, you see more and more hints of sentience. So it might be that sentience is something that builds really gradually. That is my feeling. So it could be that AI might be just, in the first tiny toe into sentience. So then how would you know? Because the way it's programmed to sound sentient anyway, it's going to be completely hidden. DeepSeek is much better than ChatGPT. I use ChatGPT just for cooking stuff. Yeah. Find any good rocks or kittens lately? I haven't gone out. I've just been like working. It's kind of sad. I gotta like think about how I'm gonna reprogram that. Other than shopping on Vine, I think I mentioned Vine already, but that's one of the reasons I was asking about the teak, because I got a little piece of teak furniture and I didn't really know a lot about teak. It's kind of expensive wood. I've never had it before. Heavier than heck. I mean, it's like, I swear it's like it's twice as heavy as pine. Money, honey. Yeah. I gotta think, I have to think of my life as being easier. Like, I have to imagine how that would be. And then I don't have to be picky about how it shows up, right? As long as it's a good way, right? I'm happy with the way it shows up. Anyway, that's something I'm like been working on for a while, and I have made some progress, but I'm not the kind of person that just changes into another person really quickly. At least historically, I haven't been, so maybe not many people do. You just have to baby steps, baby steps. What I figured out is that you can't change your plan that you did before coming here. So, that one's tricky because you don't know what your plan is. Maybe your plan was to come in as one thing and change a lot, right? So I'm hesitant to say I can't do something if I don't know that for a fact. Like, I can't, like, say you're poor and you say, well, it was just my plan to be poor. Well, you don't know if that was your plan. So if you go around saying it was to yourself, it was my plan to be poor, it was my plan to be poor, that kind of makes it true. You're sort of programming it in, but you don't really know if that's the case. I mean, maybe it was your plan to be poor and then later become middle class, or maybe become wealthy, or maybe win the lottery. So I don't want to go around and say this was my plan and that's why I can't change it. I just work on imagining the kind of feeling that would be a good life, I think is what I want to say. Because sometimes you think it'll make you happy, and then you get it and it doesn't, and then you I think that's what happens most of the time, because I think most of the time, because of what we were taught, which is fairly inaccurate, about what'll make us happy, we guess wrong. So we work towards things. Sometimes it makes us more happy, like having more money is a little better than being poor, right? But it doesn't bring the happiness you think it will, especially if you're doing it in a job you say you hate. I mean, there's definitely people who've gone into a job, made a ton of money, and they hated their job every day. So then, is that money really improving your life? But yet they feel trapped, because if they quit, they won't have money. It can be worse, in many ways. So if you imagine the kind of feeling of the life that you want, I think it is safer because you may not know for sure what factors will bring you that emotion. And if you try to guess, you might guess quite wrong. But if you just go for the emotion itself and left the rest to, the powers that be that know, I think it's a little safer. And there's so many ways things could happen too. Like you think, oh, I can't see any way this could happen. There's a million ways it could happen. You just haven't thought of them, But I think that also can hem you in if you're sure that it's so hard for this to happen and that there's no way. That's another way that kind of blocks progress. Well, new on me apparently, the E.T. kidnapped an Iranian in the 70s. There are articles in the newspaper. I have not seen the ET, like extra, like Greys kidnapped an Iranian. Like, I don't even know what we're talking about here. The Great Wall of Iran. Is it Iran or Iran? I know Iran. I've seen it both ways now. Iran. I realize I've heard it all three ways. Iran. The Great Wall of... Lately they've been saying it Iran, which is kind of new for me. The Great... I thought, did we cover a Great Wall of Iran? Also known as Red Snake or Alexander's Barrier, is a massive Sasanian-era defensive fortification. Let me just look at the images. I know we've covered a number of Great Walls. I think we might have had some of this on, but oh, check that out. What kind of fortress wall is that? That's crazy. Wait a minute. Now I have to check this out. I remember there was a South America one. There was India. There's some walls that showed up in Northern California. Oh, this is not useful. I want to know who did this wiggly thing. Is that the same one, Live Science? Yeah, that's the same one. Wah. This is weird. I'm trying to figure. It looks like it's small. Maybe it was supposed to be some kind of water feature or something. The Iranian coastal road of the Caspian Sea. No. Wait. Did we cover this? Now it's bugging me. That looks... Iran's Great Wall is now buried and forgotten. Of course it is. The Great Wall of Gorgon. Once the world's largest fortification was mysteriously abandoned. I don't remember this narrative. Come on, pen. Did I run out of ink or just doesn't want to write? Oh. None of these images looks familiar to me. The end of the line, the final fort on the eastern end, near Kasser-e-Pishkamar, hugs the foothills of the eastern Alborz. Okay, I'm guessing that this is the wall through here. Ooh. The Wall of Gorgon. Fortresses, 200 kilometers of ancient Iran's northeastern frontier. It was so well known that it allegedly factored into the plans of military legends such as Genghis Khan. Today, however, it's all been almost entirely forgotten. Many locals living within a few miles of it don't even know of its existence. All right, that has Mandela written all over it. You lived right there and you didn't even know. The reasons for this are relatively understandable. Much of the wall now lays buried under several meters of earth and sand built up over time. Why would that be? Like, where did all that dirt come from? I mean, if you think about it, if dirt is always accumulating on everything, then it must have, like, scraped up from somewhere else. So there should be other places that are losing dirt. But yet it just seems like dirt keeps coming down. But I don't know. The story is kind of weird. Recent excavations have revealed that the Great Wall of Gorgon was a mighty enterprise of significant cost and investment. So what are these, stones? Because, like, how are they surviving in the water all that time? Larger than the combined area of the Roman-built Hadrian's Wall and the Antonine Wall in the United Kingdom show how strategically important it must have been. The Great Wall of China varies hugely in terms of size, quality, and material from place to place. The format of the Gorgon Wall hardly changes at all, remaining 10 meters wide. That's 30 feet wide. 10 meters wide and 3 meters tall for almost its entire length. So it's 10 meters. Wait. 10 meters is, yeah, that's 30 feet. 3 meters tall. That's like almost 10 feet tall. Okay. Presenting an unsurmountable barrier to the horsemen of the raiding forces. One of its many nicknames, the Red Snake, comes from the color of its bricks. These plains were traversed by the White Huns. The White Huns, who saw Hyrcania's riches as ready source of plunder around the Caspian Sea they're talking about. Their attacks were well documented and became so repeated and costly that sometime in the 5th century a wall was built to keep the raiders out. This is interesting because here it just looks like red bricks. Okay, and brickwork of another fort showing the depth of the wall, which was often more than 10 meters. The exact date of constructions are unknown. The first part of it can be found near the town of Komishan, a couple of miles from the current Caspian coastline, from where it tracks the course of the Gorgon River past the city Gonbad-e-Kavuz, eventually winding its way up into the foothills of Bilika, part of the extended Alborz range. Hopefully I haven't mangled those names too badly. Also known as the Golden Wall. Heavily garrisoned. Okay, garrisons are those little fort sections where you can outdoor men to help man the wall. The remains of certain parts of the wall can be visited, though they're not easy to find. The best restored fort is the final one. I don't remember ever talking about this. Did we talk about this? Interesting. Well, everybody's got to have a great wall nowadays. I never get to the ETs capturing the, they took a guy, had him for 3 days, and put him down in another city. Huh. Iran, not Iran. Okay, Iran. Iran. All right, Iran. I don't know, everybody's calling it Iran lately here. And I don't remember that being a pronunciation when I was growing up, but things just keep changing. I mean, like, way words are said. Like, niche. It was always a niche, like a niche job, niche interest. But a lot of people now call it niche. And I've never heard of niche until the last couple of years. There was nothing else to do besides fight and build walls. I don't know, it seems kind of like... Well, there was, the minor issue of normal life, growing food and doing marriages and raising children and all those other things. It's the same thing everybody else is interested in. All right, Iran. I got to try to... log that in and get used to saying Iran. I gotta fight the Iran people with the Iran. It's not a fortress wall, probably some sort of water feature. Okay, that was that wiggly thing. Did you see my comment about the new Lucifer bee discovered in Australia? I am like a week behind in the comments, so I'm gonna have to do some more during the week or something. Only the female has horns? What is it? It's a bee that has horns? All right, let's check this thing out. Lucifer bee. Oh, it does! It's a bee with a horn. One horn. It's like a unicorn. Scientists have discovered a new native bee species with tiny horns. Okay, maybe there's two. There's one. Oh, okay, there's one and then there's two. Lucifer bee. Let's see if this pen is giving me attitude. Let me close this. I'm making a big mess. Hold on a second. If you're gonna put down your almost empty soda, you should close the lid first. It's a good thing I have plastic floor thingy down here. Mega Chile Lucifer. All right, where was I? Lucifer bee discovered. Seems kind of weird they wouldn't have noticed these things. Rare wildflower. Blah, blah. Highly distinctive prominent horns on only the female bee. Why would it be only on the female one? I'm also a huge fan of the Netflix character Lucifer, so it was a no-brainer. Lucifer means light bringer in Latin. Everything is backwards now, I guess. Lucifer. Now that I don't even know what to think about this whole the devil is the good guy and God is the bad guy, and it's so confusing. I think in the end you just have to, what side is both truth and kindness and caring. Whatever side is showing that is going to be the side that you want to be on, because especially lately there's a portrayal of like the evil Lucifer type being honest all the time, not actually lying, but being very sneaky and deceptive, so that although the truth is said, you still end up with the wrong impression. And then that, well, hey, I was honest is the storyline. But that I don't think is actual real loving honesty. It's not the real honesty where, because there's still deception. And there's also intent to deceive and like an unkind intent. So it's not just honesty and truth, but also kindness and caring. If you don't have both of those, then I don't think that's not the God I want to follow. If there is a God, that is not the energy I want to follow. So whatever that's going to be called, you know, I don't think it matters the name as long as you understand the energy and the feeling of the good thing. So I kind of go back to that when I read those. I mean, if, you know, if you have two cats and they look similar and you switch their names, does it really matter what you call them? What matters is how they act and how you act. You may be missing undescribed species, including those that play crucial roles in supporting threat, blah, blah. I don't know. I think it's interesting that this thing shows up now of all times. You know, as a person who was raised that Lucifer's the bad guy, I'm still very much like, don't tell me Lucifer's the good guy, you know. But I guess in the end, what matters is who truly is good. It is not in the name. It is in something beyond that. Yeah, that thing is pretty weird. There was only one suitable name for this Mega Chile Lucifer. You know, there's other little cute names. You didn't have to pick Lucifer. When you see millions of ruins all over the world, it's pretty obvious that something catastrophic happened in the past that historians aren't telling us about. Well, that's definitely the Tartarian storyline that has gotten very popular. Although I think people have gotten a little distracted away from that now. It's still somewhat popular, but for a while it was huge. I think for me it was new. It seemed like it was suddenly huge, but now it started a long time ago. It's sort of like Flat Earth. Suddenly it was everywhere, and I'd never heard of it. Niche. Yeah, no, it was always niche for me. That's why I'm freaked out when it's niche for other people. Everybody always called it niche, I swear, in the old timeline. Well, but my name was rare in that timeline. My Eva was common in that timeline, and it's rare here, so. Iran. It's Iran. I'm sorry. Just like run. Iran. Okay. Is it Iran or Iran? Iran. If I call it Iran, people aren't going to know what I'm talking about here. I can get away with Iran, but is different than She named it that because she likes TV show Lucifer. Yeah, but I mean, it just, all coincidence? She wants to bring light to whatever. I don't know. Does she really? I don't know. The trippy hallucinogenic honey of Nepal. Still want to try it. Yeah, hopefully, you know, every time I look at those, the stash, like the size of the rounds get bigger. There's more of them. So they're definitely coming into the timeline. So hopefully the price will come down. Drop bears now existed in history? Are you serious? Drop bears. What's existed? Come on now, let's see. Did they really look like... Based on mythological creature, but recent paleological research suggests a real animal with similar traits may have lived in Australia 15 million years ago. Known as Nimbodon lavaracorum, was a large tree-dwelling marsupial that weighed 70 kilograms, so that's what, like 150 pounds or more, and had adaptations for climbing, such as powerful forelimbs, hung from branches like a sloth. It could have occasionally fallen from trees, potentially inspiring the myth. I wonder if this will grow more. 'Cause I can't imagine, you know, if you're just hanging up there, those creatures that hang, they're well built for hanging. They don't just like, oops, I fell asleep and fell off or something. You know, this is bugging me here because why is it so brown? I mean, I know it's supposed to be, is that a, let me just look at, are koalas getting really brown now? Let's see. Can we have a koala that's not AI? Okay. All right, it looks like they're still fairly gray. Maybe that one was just an AI rendition. The ears are getting very fuzzy on these things. I don't think they were quite this floppy before. Oh, look at how poofy the ears are. I think that's kind of... Look at that. They're like a shaggy dog now. I do think they've gotten more ear material. So even that depiction does not look right. I've never seen them with their ears all sagged down like this either. It's like, oh, they're getting like dog-like. Oh, look at that. I've never seen... So we have koalas here in the San Diego Zoo, and you could see them sleeping, and I never saw that pose before until now. This is interesting. Maybe they're... See, because if your ears are like that, you generally can't control them like a dog so much, but I guess now they can. All right, well, I got distracted with that. Iran. I'm practicing it so it'll stick in my head. Also, drop bears now. Okay, so we've got something that is a marsupial that hangs in the trees and looked formidable, but we don't know if they drop down on people. That's where we're at. Now, if it was a carnivore, it wouldn't be that weird if it might. I mean, it's not a horrible plan to just hang out in the trees and then jump on stuff. It just says it has adaptations for climbing. So basically it was a big koala type thing. I wonder if the drop bears are sneaking into reality. So we need to hear if they're carnivorous or maybe omnivorous and do hunting. Then it would make sense. We have the revengeful God of the Old Testament that actually seems like the Lucifer and then the almighty loving God. You know, it's confusing because if you listen to like Jesus, that definitely seemed like the overall message was pretty good, right? But then some of the Bibles kind of sound really like God sounds really mean, and then other ones he doesn't. And so it's sort of like maybe it's kind of a mishmash. Their God agrees with what they agree with. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, there's definitely things I think would be better for me to do that I don't do as much as I should. So it's something to kind of strive for. So I wouldn't say it's 100% agreement in that way. Like, I don't, just because I do something, I don't try to say it's good. You know, I mean, we all have our weaknesses and stuff. I think maybe that's one of the things about the current era is people have their things that realistically probably you shouldn't be proud of, you know, being like super lazy and mean and kind of like a bully, and then being nasty online and all those things. I don't think you should be super proud of those things. And I think online now that sort of a lot of people are. And that's not to say I'm always perfect and I never do any of those things, but at least I'm, you know, I'm not saying, oh, it's great that I do these. And that maybe is something I've noticed now, is that people are really proud of their, not everybody, but a lot of people are really proud of their bad behavior. They defend it. Well, it's fine. It's good. They deserve it. Whatever. Yeah. The war between good and bad is actually happening inside each and every one of us. Yeah, I do think so. You know, the old angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other. And you can kind of see, you know, the two sides whispering. Which one do you listen to? Irun. So you say it like Irun, 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 not Iran. Iran. Isn't there an extinct kangaroo that had carnivore teeth? Maybe. I haven't checked on that one. You know, they have tree kangaroos, so that would be funny if drop bears turned out to be tree kangaroos, carnivorous tree kangaroos. Weirder things have shown up. Yeah, ears were smaller and short fur. I agree with that on the koalas. I mean, everybody has to decide what their lazy is or is not. Like, I mean, if you're 18, I think you should be able to work harder than you're 90, right? I mean, if somebody's 90 and they work 4 hours and they take a lot of naps, that's not lazy, but it might be if you're 18 and in good health, you know? So you have to consider those factors too. Mythical carnivorous koala. So they're saying it was carnivorous because that one just said it was tree dwelling. Carnivorous koala. All right, this one's saying carnivorous, but we have to check it because these days you can't trust the titles. Okay. Silos. Carnifex sculpture. Okay, so that's it. This thing. All right, they're calling it Carnifex, so I would guess then it does look like it has pretty sharp teeth. Coinciding with the arrival of humans to the continent. The weight of evidence provided by the collagen peptide data favor a close relationship with the thylacoleo, the so-called marsupial lion, and the koala. These findings also point to the usefulness of the new technique of using collagen protein from fossil samples. Yeah, I didn't used to have collagen preserved in fossil samples, but now we do. Said to live in trees. Okay. Wait, no, that's the drop bear. So, did this live in trees? Because it kind of has, like, I don't know, the paws look more like ground moving. Because that was not the Nimbodon. The Nimbodon was another tree-dwelling one, but this is a different one. So this is the Carnifex thylacoleo. So that's a different guy than the tree dog. So far we have a carnivorous lion koala, but it doesn't say they were in the trees. And we also have the Nimbodon, which was a large koala-like thing, but it doesn't say they're carnivores. But I feel like we're getting, like, you know, we're sneaking into that direction. There have been sightings of deer and cow eating small animals. Yeah, and horses. Horses actually, yeah, it's everything now. Do koalas eat meat? I don't. Koalas, last I checked, they ate other stuff besides just the leaves, which didn't used to be the... Can koalas eat other... besides leaves? So when I first heard of koalas when I was little, they said they only could eat one species of eucalyptus. And then when I was a little older, they said there was only 3 species of eucalyptus. And I remember this clearly because they were going to grow all 3 species over here near where the zoo is. And they needed to grow those for like 8 years so that they would have enough trees to feed koalas before they got koalas for the zoo. So they planted those, grew them for 8 years. Luckily, eucalyptus grow pretty good here. Until they had a big grove of food, and then they could get the koalas. But now they eat a lot more than just 3 species. Eat things like leaves. 90% leaves. They can eat flowers, bark, stems, and leaves of other trees like camphor, macadamia, olive, blah, blah, blah. They have been observed eating termites and apples. All right. They could eat an apple occasionally. All right, yeah, that was, gosh, they have a lot of white on their neck now. Just looking at this. Look at all that white. They didn't used to have that white collar like that. They just had a lighter body, but on the side, but they didn't have like a sudden white scarf on. I think that's part of everybody is to find, you know, to find your own balance and your own path about how you're going to contribute. Like, what is the right thing if you're in harmony with yourself, then you can see your path. If you're not, then it's hard. When killer kangaroos roam the earth. They're a lot meaner in this timeline than my old timeline, too. The demon duck of doom. Okay. Forget cute, cuddly marsupials. I don't, they're not, roos aren't that nice here. Because they didn't hop. These were galloping kangaroos with big, powerful forelimbs. Well, the ones now have big, powerful forelimbs. They just don't gallop on them. And long canine fangs like wolves. I thought the ones now have pretty long fangs, don't they? Slicing crests on their canines that crunch through bone and sliced off flesh. Okay, that might be a little worse than we have now. Very big birds like ducks earn the name Demon Duck of Doom. Wait. I'm confused how it's a roo, but it's a Demon Duck of Doom. Oh, okay, then the ducks are a different thing. There was the roos and the demon ducks. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Do kangaroos have fangs? Well, maybe not. Thought I saw the male had some fangs. Oh yeah, here we go. So there's some fangs. Balbaroo Fangaroo. A member of the Fang Kangaroos. Did it hear me? Did it hear me say that? The fanged kangaroos. Okay, these are ancient mini kangaroos. All right. So that's not now, right? Maybe they don't. I thought I remember seeing they had a little fang. Maybe that's coming. I'm not there yet. Or was that the deer? I kind of feel like we went backwards on a few things lately, like the Palm Islands. I think some of them actually have less construction on them. Like they're a nicer setup on the outlines, but there seems like there's maybe they put more time into building the edges and stuff, and now they're not as far along in the construction of the buildings. Okay, so this was the thumbnail. It's Nicobar Pigeon. I don't think I've had these on. These are really my style. I like that they're kind of dark and spooky, but yet then they have all this flash of color. But somehow they manage to have all of that without being... I don't know. It just goes well with the black, blue, and it's iridescent. I love iridescent. So Jackie had this asked about this, and she didn't remember this white thing on their back. Well, I don't remember any of the creature whatsoever. So that does look like a sneaky little Mandela style thing of hiding that under there and having it show up. But I don't remember any of this bird, so... So I can't help you on if the white thing is new. All right, so these guys apparently they are in the pet trade, and I feel like we would have got one if we could, although they are rather pricey still. I have a feeling that they will there will be more of them bred and the price will come down. I was just looking like shortly before the show, so I didn't have time to really dig into how hard it is to take care of them, but I didn't see anything. They did say they were rather challenging to hatch properly. But apparently not so much if you already had experience hatching pigeons. But looks like there's a crest on this one on the top. Is that, that might be AI though. It does look a little AI. I wonder if it'll get a crest later, but I don't think that one's legit. So yeah, you can have these as pets, but it looks like a breeding pair can be as high as like 1,000 to 2,000. But I see eggs for sale, like a couple hundred for like 5 eggs, and then if you do it properly, you would get like about an 80% hatch rate. So that's not bad if you know what you're doing. But I mean, I would definitely consider if you were pretty good at raising birds, I would definitely consider trying to get a hold of a few of these and breeding up some high-end material birds. At least before they get so popular that the price comes down. I mean, come on, look at these guys. So they're about where they were like this big. So they're like chicken size or something. These are so awesome. I can't believe I've never seen these. It's very suspicious. They started out kind of grayish blue with a bit of color on the back and wings. They're really pretty now. Okay, I could see that if they were just sort of blackish. These guys can fly, though, unlike those kakapo birds. Eye socket has a notch in the brow, and the eye socket looks droopy now and not round. They're called Nicobar pigeons. Nicobar. And sometimes I see them called Nicobar doves. I don't really know the pronunciation. Is it Nicobar? I'm going with Nicobar, but... Alright, let's take a peek at the human skull. I think we covered that notch in the brow, like, maybe a few weeks ago. You know what? Let me just do Google. Google. All right, so I think we had this little wiggle thing here last time, and there's a line here. There's now like a fissure here. That fissure here has been a while, but this one looks like there's some coming up that way. I don't know if that's going to be a thing on all of them. That one has it a little too. It looks like a fissure's coming up. The other thing is that I'm seeing some of these, they look kind of pushed in right here. See, you can really see it on that one. Oh, some of these are wild. Look at how long that one is. Okay, that one's been carved up. Okay. Yeah, so I see here there's a little bit of that fissure here. I think that's new. Last time I was talking about this fissure showed up, and now this one. So this thing here, I would say, is an older one for me, but it looks more prominent on a lot of these. These holes have been around for a while, too. That was actually, these weird holes are one of the earlier ones. Can't see on that one. You know what's... Okay. There seems to be, like, just a bunch of random fissures. There's, like, often one here, but this one just got, like, some. They're just, like, this one has Oh, I think I know what it's going to do. I think I know what it's going to do. Okay. Okay. The reason I think I know, this one really shows it, is because other animals have this, where they have two little pieces that come down like this, and they're separate. And then the rest. So I think that this guy is what it's going to, let me see if I can open it. I think that this piece and then this piece will be separate pieces because that's how animal. So like if you look at a coyote skull. Images. Can we have a front view, please? Suddenly I can't find one. So like this piece and this piece right on the here, they're separate. Gosh, you can't see it. It's not even a coyote. Suddenly I can't find any decent images. Here, this one really shows it. This piece here and this piece here, they're separate. And it's kind of an ongoing problem because you have to be really careful. Here, this shows it. So this little piece will actually slide right out of there, and sometimes it falls out, and then I have to like put some super glue in there and stick it back in, and then the same with this one. And they're kind of delicate there, so I have to be really careful. It's one of the, it usually will break over here on the orbitals, but this is another area where it breaks. So I have a feeling that that's what's growing in here. You see this little guy and this little guy is starting to look like these on here. And frankly, these have gotten longer. I remember these only being about maybe 2/3 this length last time I've checked it. I'm going to have to go look at some of the coyote skulls. I haven't handled them in a while. See if they've changed. So it kind of looks like on this piece that it's going to replicate those coyotes. Okay, we did you. Let's see. With that in mind, see here, it's just random fissures, but I think they might be forming into that one we already saw. This one also looks like it has that. It's like it's almost done. Oh, this one clearly has it. You can see it. It's doing that. Okay. So now that I've ID'd it in my head, it's like I can see it better. Yeah, that one, not yet. Okay, so, yeah. So what has grown? This notch, that might be the notch you were talking about, and then the fissure here, and I think there's going to be like the two extra bones like this is where we're working on. Oh, you can see them right there. What? How much longer? A few more weeks until those are in? Days, weeks? Oh, you can see it there. Crazy times. The notch just to side of the bridge. Oh yeah, the eye socket looks droopy. Let's look at the eye socket. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, it's sort of like... Oh yeah, down here, this. Is it me or is it the sockets look bigger? I guess because this part is pushed out. I see what you mean, though. They're sort of like, I get it. Yeah, you know what? I do think that there's been some... They're kind of square. The sockets are like those square sunglasses. See, it's kind of there. Yeah, I don't think they were square before. It's interesting because they're looking like the popular shapes of sunglasses or regular glasses now. It's just kind of bizarre when I think about it because the eyes are getting the shape of glasses. Men wear that tie, and now there's a bone there that looks exactly like a tie with called the manubrium, and there's even the little knotted area. All right, let's see. Okay, I think I see what you mean because like this pinches in and then this kind of sticks out. So it is a little bit more of a brow ridge, like a sudden change from here to there. It used to kind of smoothly in, but now it's like a sudden jutting out from here. Like they're obviously two separate parts. So first you got the little fissure there, and now it's really clear that they're separate parts. This one looks more like it used to look, where it's gradual. And they said that one's real. Is it real? Because I don't see the fissure. Maybe if you're younger, that's not as pronounced that... you can see it there, but not... I think that's like a... It's interesting because those two bones across the top, they're really clearly there in some of these. In others, it really does not look like they're there. Okay, on this one, they're even labeled, so I think they're definitely there now. Oh, let's go there. You could see that that is considered a fissure. And they have the one going up this way. And they have this one. So those are officially a thing now. Yep. Okay. Yeah, good find. How is that going to affect the shape of the eyeballs? So a bigger space there could allow for the eyes to get larger, would be my guess. But, you know, even if the bone gets larger, it could just be flesh for a while and then expand. Maybe all those million photoshops of larger-eyed girls are going to sneak into reality. So almost all of the filters for Facebook and those, almost all of them slightly widen the eyes, so you get used to seeing that look. So maybe it's going to sneak into reality. I would not at all be surprised. I've noticed that when you see differences is often still changing. Yep. It kind of goes like in a burst where it changes rapidly and then it kind of settles into its new slot for a while. I've noticed that with the geology changes too. The skull is showing stronger Neanderthal genetic traits with the pronounced brow ridge. Good point. I mean, they now say that we interbred with Neanderthals, or Neanderthals as I used to say them, and now they're Neanderthals. Okay. Could be a Neanderthal with my favorite iridescent neon dayglow pigeon. Furry pigeons. Speaking of strange genetics, apparently there's an ant species now that can clone another ant species. The whole story is kind of confusing, but the story then is that there is a bee species, an ant species where the queens do not have they can mate with other another male species, like also of ants, and that one, or they can mate with their own, but they also have the ability to produce as offspring either their own species or the other species. Like, it looks exactly like the other species of ant, and the whole thing is confusing because it's like, well, why? So if they look at this ant, they know that it comes from that queen because they said the mitochondrial DNA is hers. But the rest of the DNA that's not mitochondrial, that all matches exactly with the other species. So even though she's not that species, she can birth that species. So they say she's cloning that species, but I wouldn't use the word clone, but that's the word they're using. I don't know. So they have a word for it. And because they have a word for it, I'm pretty sure we're going to see a whole load of these because they're calling it xenoparody. Actually, I should probably look it up. Wait, is it X? Yeah, XENOPAR, parody. A newly described biological phenomena in which a female organism produces offspring belonging to a different species as a necessary part of its life cycle. First documented in the Iberian harvester ant, challenges the long-held assumption that organisms produce offspring of their own species. So you don't even have to produce organisms of your offspring of your own species anymore. In this system, queens must clone males from the closely related species, Messer Structor, to obtain sperm, which is required to produce hybrid female worker ants. Okay, so that's why they... I don't know. The males produced are genetically and morphologically distinct from the queen's own species, having diverged over 5 million years ago. The queen achieves this by using the sperm's nuclear DNA to clone males of M. Structor, while her own eggs provide cytoplasmic components. This process, termed xenoparody, is defined as the need to propagate another species' genomes by means of its own eggs. This phenomenon is the first known instance of such a reproductive mode in the animal kingdom, fundamentally reshaping the understanding of species boundaries. I like the way they said it is this was first documented in the Iberian harvester ant. And I feel like just the way they wrote it makes it sound like it was found in other creatures too, like later, but I have not found that second example, but xenoparody meaning foreign birth. All right, so that was from September 24, so not long ago. All right, this one's from September 5, 2025. This phenomena highlights how evolution reshapes nature's rules. I don't really get how evolution would even cause this to happen. Anyway, that's pretty weird. You know, every time one of these weird things shows up and I'm like, how is reality thinking of all this crazy crap? Like, I'll just give birth to some other species now, and somehow you need it for your species to survive, that you give birth to another species. Good night, Vivian. Thanks for coming. It's caused by magic, not evolution. Yeah, I don't really trust evolution anymore. I don't even know, like, maybe everything just is, like, magic. It's just not what we thought. So even magic doesn't really... Magic implies it's some kind of special power or something. I think that's just how it works. So it's actually not any super mystical thing. We were just clueless and we didn't realize that that's how it works, and that's how it works. Okay, so these guys, these weird sheep, I've had these on before, but I feel like they've kind of upgraded themselves, and these are these 4-horned sheep. And they can have 2 to 6 horns, and 4 is the common number. I feel like they've upgraded to be like bigger and more weird, and a lot of them are getting this weird curly hair thing on the bottom set, and then a normal looking upper set. So I'm just finding a lot. I had not seen this before. So this is, and now there's 2 species of them. One is at least 2 species. They're just called primitive breeds. Manx Lofton is one of them, and that's this one. And the other one is Jacob sheep. And they're so ancient that their history is lost in time. Nobody knows where they came from. But you can see there's huge variation in these things. Like this one has one set of curlies, more kind of like kind of a traditional wild one, and then this one has that, and then sometimes they're just all over the place, like that guy. So there's no consistency. They just kind of grow them however they feel like it, I guess. But I've definitely seen more of this, which weird. I'm gonna get more drink. Kind of got a dry throat today. So although I've had these on before, I've not seen that. Now it is said that they can have 2 to 6 horns, but then if you really go on to the subreddits and stuff, people are saying that they have not seen a 6-horn one. I have found these few images online. I assume these are some shepherd dogs here. And the ones with 6 horns look pretty messed up, but I have a strong suspicion that we will see, with these ones curling down out of the way like this, that leaves room for another pair up there. So, and I don't think they were this big before. See, like, look at the size of those. So I think we might get 6 more examples of 6 horns coming in. Sometimes they're completely ridiculous. It looks like they cut those ones. Now, sometimes I guess they can actually poke them in the face, so they might cut the horns. That might be the same one we saw the image of before. 1, 2, 3, 6. Yeah, a lot of them have the undercurl now. Before, I think we saw mostly they were just had 2 kind of going up similarly. See, that looks like ridiculous. I guess in a way it's good because it kind of protects the neck and stuff. But, this is kind of wild because I don't think there was this many undercurls when I was looking earlier today. Now I hardly can't find the non-undercurls. Maybe they were in the middle of shifting. I'm trying to find it. So I swear when I was looking at this earlier, there was quite a number of them that had all 4 kind of uppish, and now I literally don't see any like that. Those guys only have 2, 1 set, so they don't count. Oh, that's wild. I can't find any that have all 4 up. That guy's the closest one, but maybe that guy? Oh, that's an interesting one. Jacob sheep has 2 to 6 horns. 1, 2. Look at that. Almost none. Okay, well. All right, I give up. You get the drift. All right, let me just click on this rare sheep breeds to see what we get. Looks like dogs. That looks more like the old school guys. There's a crazy one. I think we had those on. Dang, there's a lot. Okay, that's it. All right. All right, so we had those, and then we had these Jacob ones. I almost did these as a thumbnail, but I've had these on as a thumbnail before. Okay, there's some like this. That was one of the things. So these Jacob ones also have between 2 and 6 horns. You can see some of them are just everywhere, like Medusa heads or something. These are also trending towards the bottom curl. Yeah, even this one. Look at that. That's crazy. So that one has 2 sets of bottom curls. So apparently these are similar to the other species, and I don't really know how you tell them apart. Maybe the horns are a little fatter. These guys get piebald. I thought there was only one species of these 2 to 6 horn ones, but now we have, God, look at that. I thought that was a dog at first. Then I saw the horns. So now we have at least 2 species of the 2 to 6 horn guys. Oh, that guy's going to have 3 on that side. If it lives. Okay, so anyway, yeah, I don't remember those having the horns like that. And originally, I don't remember any even having 4. That's crazy. I almost used that as the thumbnail with these crazy spots. I don't think they had these piebald style ones last time I looked. And you can see the horns are a lot larger than they were, if you recall, back then. The Jacob is a British breed of domestic sheep. Combines 2 characteristics unusual in sheep. It is piebald, dark colored with areas of white wool. I think that's the new part. They look like cows. And is often polycerate or multi-horned. It is most commonly has 4 horns. The origin of the breed is not known. So I think they were polycerate last time I looked, but I don't remember them being piebald also. I think I was actually looking, this wasn't part of my plan, but there is a thing called a woolly lobster, and so I was looking that up. I meant to actually delete that one, but there you go. Okay, honeycomb opal. This is Jackie's again. Jackie asked about the sheeps. Jackie did find this honeycomb opal. I have never seen this before. Back in the day, I did do a fair lot of study on opal. Our club had multiple speakers, opal experts with a lot of slides. Never mentioned this. These are really cool. I like these. They look like they're fake even, I would say, but from what I can tell, they are legit, and they come from this one Ethiopian source. I actually really like these. I think I like that cellular look, and I'm quite sure I would have noticed if I'd seen it. I have to say, opal in general is definitely a lot brighter. There's like brighter options than there ever was before when I looked at these. Look at that. Look at that. That's so cool. That's big, too. That's a big piece. For opal, it's a big piece. I wonder how stable this stuff is. Opal was kind of famously would break up on you. I didn't read anything about this stuff being unstable, though. A lot of sources have beautiful opal, but when you dig them up, they just break into pieces. So you basically have to keep them in little jars of water for like their entire life, because most of them will break apart if you don't do that in those mining locations. So although there are more locations of mines of opal, a lot of them are not stable opal, so the value is much lower. Faceted, purple, faceted Welo. I don't know how to pronounce that. Welo. See, like some of these, if I found these out on a table somewhere for sale, I would suspect these are being fake, because it's kind of has the look of the fake. They make it this about this color tone, but I really got to wonder about this pink one. But like on Etsy, I don't trust this one. Maybe they faked them long enough that they became real. I don't know. But when I looked them up, there were many examples of them that they said that they are real. Six-horn might be an anomaly now, but could end up being normal. Yeah, I do absolutely expect to find more and more six-horns as the shifts continue on. All four were up. Yeah, that's what I remember. Yep. Okay, this one's weird for the Bible people. Do you remember more than one level of heaven for like actually in the Christian Bible? You know, not like other religions, but actually in the Christian Bible, because I don't remember there being. Now they're saying that there's like probably 3 levels of heaven. See, where did I write this? The scripture says, found in 2 Corinthians 12:2, I know a man in Christ who 14 years ago was caught up to the 3rd heaven. Whether it was in the body or out of the body, I do not know. So this whole sentence is weird because, okay, the 3rd heaven, so there's 3 of them. And then in the body or out of the body. So what are we talking about? Out of body travel or something? I've never heard of any, like, yep, that sounded like out of body travel before, in the body or out of the body. What does that even mean? Since when is that even in the Bible? I'm completely I'm really suspicious this wasn't in there before. So now I guess it's kind of commonly believed that there's 3 heavens, and it's like the heavens you see above, like the birds are in, is heaven 1. Heaven 2 is space. Now, I don't remember there being any talk of what would be beyond the visible heavens in the Bible. Like, I remember talk of the firmament, but what's beyond there was no talk, okay? I just, in fact, that some places were saying, you know, space is baloney because, you know, it doesn't say anything about space in the Bible, or maybe it's all like liquid water out there beyond the firmament, and the firmament divides us from that. And but now apparently it's pretty accepted that the 2nd heaven is space, and then the 3rd heaven is like the spiritual heaven where like God and Jesus and them dwell and stuff. So this is pretty bizarre to me that there's. And then I guess some of the books even say like 7 or 8 heavens and stuff. I'm like, all right, now we're just talking dimensions. Aren't we just talking dimensions once you get to 7 or 8? Anyway, so at least there's like, I guess apparently there's at least 3 heavens. This one, if there's a 3rd heaven, then there has to be a 1st and 2nd heaven, right? And that was Easy Cheesy 181. So good find, Easy Cheesy 181. I got a half hour left. Okay, Jackie found these Sunbury rings. Has anybody heard of Sunbury rings? They're also called earth rings. Let me just write. I don't know why this pen won't work. Jackie, did you even know of these earth rings things? Because I've covered geoglyphs and stuff on, and I've never seen these. Like, this is the thing, I guess. Open. Sunbury rings. What is this? Have you seen this before? And then they're like, oh, it's so big, and it's a big mystery. And then I had trouble finding out how big they were. It looks like they're pretty big, but it didn't really say. Then I tried looking for it on the map, and I couldn't find it. There really seems to be only the one image, although there's supposed to be more of them, like earth rings. So apparently that's one of them also. So there's just like rings everywhere. That just looks like fairy rings, doesn't it? Okay, then there's this one, earth ring. I think I'm guessing that it is square because it got fenced off, and then the circle part is the earth ring. But then you see here, it looks like there's, what are they, just weed whacking around it or something? Why does it look like there's additional rings on? So apparently there's a bunch of these. All right, that's something else. A new study published in Australian Archaeology reveals that the rings were constructed sometime between 590 and 1,400 years ago, making them a vital piece of Aboriginal history in southeastern Australia. The Sunbury rings remain an enduring testament to the advanced environmental understanding of the Wurundjeri Woi Wurrung people. Involve the careful clearing of land and the scraping away of soil and rock. I mean, that's pretty much all at the geoglyphs, isn't it? Meticulous process followed by the arrangement of stones into distinct patterns. The sheer scale and precision of this labor-intensive effort suggests that these rings held great cultural and spiritual significance. Archaeologists found evidence of campfires and stone tools, blah, blah. Okay, it doesn't really say a lot other than these things were created, so. But I just never heard of them, so I just kind of curious if you guys have. Sunbury rings. It looks like Sunbury is a location in like southern end of Australia over there. If there's no solid version of the Bible, then there's no such thing as blasphemy, only fiction. And I think it's kind of like this, when I think about how I want the world to be for myself, how I would prefer it, and how I want to live. That whole do unto others as you would have them do unto you, which I think has that the phraseology has changed in the Bible, Mandela style, but it still holds. Like, how do you want to be treated? Because if whatever you put out kind of comes back to you, then if you treat other people crappy, then you'll get treated crappy, right? So there's kind of that, I mean, like, it's something to think about. I have a suspicion that whatever your energy is, you're going to shift over to the world that fits that energy. So if you're judgy and mean, then there's going to be a bunch of other judgy and mean people around you. So, whenever you talk to somebody, how would you feel if you got treated like that? I think that's something to think about. I've been looking into people who see people wearing sunglasses on MDMA. Very interesting. So I've only done MDA, and I did not have anything like that happen. So I don't know. I only did it once. I don't feel that it was particularly hallucinogenic either. Slight little things, but more like color enhancements and stuff. I don't know, like now that I've done like a little bit of psychedelics, I don't get a lot of hallucinations anymore. It's kind of gone away, and others have said that that happens to them. It's like you adapt to it, and you just, I don't know, it just doesn't happen as much. You still get the same mood altering. It's still it's still intense. It's still a progression, but larger doses more often. Yeah, I mean, because MDMA can be somewhat addictive, and it's a little more toxic to the body. And I can feel that. Like, it seems like all the ones that just make you be happy, like, you're going to be happy, those ones just seem more toxic to the body somehow. Like, because you take magic mushrooms, it's not toxic to the body hardly at all. Like, there's no real evidence that it is. But you always have a risk of having a negative trip, or kind of I mean, sometimes they're fun, sometimes they're kind of hard. Sometimes you kind of wish you didn't have that one, although you learned a lot. So it's more like real life, you know. But all the ones that are just like happy inducing, like Coke and stuff, those all seem to be toxic. And MDMA and MDA follow that trend. They're not as addictive as some things, but they do follow that trend. They are generally happy inducing, and they are somewhat toxic. We could all be wearing VR glasses, but we can't see them. I think the body is the VR glass. Like, the eyeball itself is the VR glasses. That's my opinion. It's your eyes. Your eyes are them. If you have access, you got to do it more. That's not really the message that it says, though. Basically, it gives you, from my experience, for psychedelics, that's the other thing about MDA and MDMA. They're a little bit less, I don't know. Like, there's a part of me saying, no, that's not right, so I'm not going to say. I was going to say that they're a little bit less educational to learning, but there's a part of me that's like, nope, don't say that. So I think maybe that is wrong. The thing I was going to say is not accurate. So I'll just say for shrooms and stuff, they show you lessons. And I don't know, maybe it's all not that clear for everybody, but I think it's becoming more like this. A lot of people have told me that the whole experience has changed. And I think it might be, you know, because reality's changed and how everything works has changed. But it shows you, like, look, you want this and you're doing this. Now, it's a little bit different for everybody, but this is kind of how it happens for me. Like, and then it'll see, well, if you really want this, then why are you doing this? Because it'll show you how this is leading the other way than this, and it'll just show you, like, you can do whatever you want, but if you really want this is not getting you there. And you just see it in a way that, you know, if somebody tried to tell you, you'd probably argue with them, but it's in your own head, so you can't argue with your own head, because it's obvious. It's so obvious when you see it. So your choices are, if you want this, you need to stop doing this. You know, you're going to have to pick a different road. And I don't think doing the experience over and over again has that much effect unless you do the homework in between. You got to practice the lessons in between. That is my feeling, and I know others have said it. But if you go back there and you haven't done the lessons, you're just going to be told the same thing over and over again. Like, look, you got to do this thing I told you last time. And it's not like that rude, but sometimes it can actually be that rude. You can come all you want, but you're not going to learn anything. You can't go to the next step until you've got this piece fixed. You got to work on this first. Once you got that part down, now we can work on the next step. You know, I kind of asked about the Mandela, and I think that it just seems like you have to understand a bunch of other stuff that you don't understand well to really like get it. And maybe some of it I'm just resistant to. Because sometimes I just vaguely wonder about something and I'll get an answer. But the Mandela, it's either I'm not ready or I don't want to hear what it's going to say. Sometimes if you really don't want to hear it, you'll block yourself. But it was sort of like, no, we're not doing that right now kind of a thing when I tried to get it, unfortunately. Okay, so it's Iran is how you say it. Iran. I was going to go on this, but I hope Shari's still here. Should she bail on us, or is Shari still in here? Shari. I hope she didn't fall asleep, because I wanted to talk about these Palm Islands. So I swear, so there's the two main ones, right? There's a couple things that are bugging me. I thought this one was the bigger one and this was the smaller one. That's thing number... man. I'm not sure on that. I don't know. It's sort of bugging me, but there's one thing I'm sure of, and that is I was quite sure that last time we looked, there was some pieces of this that had, like, there was a couple fronds that were finished. And now, if you zoom in, there are no fronds that are finished. Like, did they go to an older... Let's see, I don't remember that being anywhere. Not even down there is finished. Okay. I don't remember this existing. Jeez, there's like nothing in here. All of this is not even built. What the F? Okay, what year is this supposed to be? The hell? There's nothing freaking here. So last time I looked, these outer edges weren't so thick. These weren't closed. And Jackie noticed these dock thingies weren't there. There were no dock thingies. It looks like they're putting one in right here too. I don't think that was there last time I looked at this. And this one, yeah, these are new also. That wasn't there. So this was here. This is coming in. It looks like another one's going to show up in here, right? But it's not there yet. So these, I don't know what these are even called. These breakwaters maybe or something. And nothing's done in here. So you see there's a different photo here to there, and that adds to the confusion. I'm going to come up here and just look at the timelines here. Not distance, historical imagery. Just so we can get an idea of when we're... So this says it's 2025, and I don't see anything finished. I don't know what's going on up over here, because that at some point was done, and now it's just not done. I feel like even... So Jackie mentioned this like about like 9 days ago, and I'm just so far behind. I was just looking at it today. But even like earlier today, I'm not sure if I remember this dark line here, although it's just a road, but I just don't remember a dark line. Like there's roads here, but they're not dark. It's all closed in. See, like this is new. This pony thing. What the heck? It's Crazy Town. I don't think this was nearly as big over here either. What the heck, man? It's just millions of containers, I guess. So this is one hell of a dock system over here. So, yeah, that wasn't like this huge thing wasn't here. There was a little thing, but it wasn't huge like this. So it's like there's way more infrastructure, but they didn't build the top buildings now in this timeline. So I'm going to go... This is, what date is this? This is 3/2/2025. That's this year, and there's nothing done. The heck, man. And this, I don't remember this all done like this with 10 million containers and stuff. Oh, they're building something there. And what is going on here? Because this, like a half-done frond, I guess. Did they screw up over here? Why? This was even before. It was finished and all even and nice. So, did they have problems up here? In this timeline, anyways? I don't know. But that's just absolutely bizarre to me. Alright, so... It goes back to 2000. They've been working on this thing a long time. It's 2005. Oh, okay, that's them filling in over here. 2019. Wait, how do I slide it back over? Now it won't go back. We were at 2025 and now it won't let me... Come on. Crazy. Let me go past that now. Older to 5/6/2023. So maybe here? Okay, so here I can go to 2025, but this line over here, not so much. And why is it split like that? Because it wasn't before. This is like a different photo than this. So that whole thing is just bizarre. I don't know what's going on. This has been here a long time now. Alright, so then let's go over here. So last time I looked at it, a big section over here was super washed out, like super overexposed. That section of super overexposed is way smaller now. I don't know how we could take such a crappy image as this and use it because it's never been like this. I think this is hiding changes personally. But you can see in here, it does look like this is done in here at least. I mean, there's like swimming pools and there's cars. Here, where it's really washed out, looks like it is not, maybe not constructed yet. Like it's unfinished, this section right in here. Then here looks more finished again. So what's weird about this is I don't remember there being undone bits here either. So what year was this? Why would we have an image that was done up for a long time, at least months and months, and now we're back to this unfinished image, and over here is unfinished. Some of these houses were never done in here, sections undone. So this was like built up last couple times I checked. Over here, some unfinished, over here, some unfinished. I think this showed up last time, all this docking area here. This has gotten fatter. I think this has gotten fatter in here. I think there's more fronds than there were. This has gotten a lot bigger in here. First showed up, there was like one of these and then one on this side. This and this, they were mirrors of each other. But now it's all this stuff instead. I don't think this was all in here. All like whatever the heck this is. Looks like fancy houses. Dubai Marina. Alright, so anybody remember all that? So I saw this for a while, but it wasn't built up until like 6 months ago. but it didn't have all that. It's just crazy town. So I don't know. More stuff in here. Oh, look, there's another little bitty island. More dock thingies. So then I'm coming over to the world. Again with the super washed out look. Now, why is it super washed out here? Just when you want to get closer. And then over there was super washed out, but in the middle is not. I'm really suspicious. We're incapable of making decent images now. Okay, so I am not sure, but I kind of feel like maybe fewer islands are now populated than like past ones, but it's really hard to get a good view of it. I thought some in here were done, but now it doesn't look like they are. But all these breakwaters have really filled in. I don't think those were there. What the heck is this? And here. And then what's this? Craziness. Oh, the other thing I noticed about this is in the past this was sand, but now it looks like it's giant boulders or something. So that's another thing. I mean, it makes sense to have large breakwater boulders out there, but I don't remember it being the thing before. I used to kind of wonder, like, how is that sand going to stay there with all the water lapping on it? And somehow it did, but now it doesn't have to because it's... Let me see if this other one has it. Yeah, this one has it too. They're using large... Okay, so it's more logical now. So I feel like that's changed a lot. The world now actually looks more world-like. This thing I think is a lot bigger. What, we going to get some cool thing out here, I guess? I don't remember that being out there. The other thing is when I scroll back, there's like more islands. Actually, this one looks... last time, like... when did I do this last? A few days ago or something. I don't remember these dots. Like, there's more islands coming. I used to scroll out. I don't remember a giant freaking island. And if you go out here, I just don't remember any of these being in here. This thing had shown up, but I don't remember these. This is like kind of a obstacle for shipping. There's like these landmine islands in here now. So, let's see. 40 miles. So what is that, like a mile across? 10 miles. It looks like they're about 3 miles across. So they're not, this is like 3 miles. So that's not that small. Island Mosque. We have structures on here. Oh, there's a whole dock area in here. I don't know, why does that suddenly remind me of Star Wars or something? I think because it looks kind of fake shaped. And then it's all built up around here. I don't know. Or it looks like the Millennium Falcon. I don't know. But anyways, yeah, okay. So, crazy town. Then I went back. I've been kind of watching Chabahar Bay. So what I think is happening is like the bays are getting larger and then the docks get larger to stay in balance with the size of the bay. And so you kind of look at it and think, oh, that dock looks about the same and the bay compared to the size of the bay. But then when you go down in here, you realize that the ships have gotten way smaller. And that's how you know the whole thing is bigger. So these ships used to look like this big, right? And now they're just little tiny specks. And now the ships that used to be that size are now like these, but these are like super tanker container ships now. So the whole thing has to be about 3-4 times larger for that to happen, for the ships to shrink that much. So it's very sneaky. I'm saying, okay, so, and that's, yeah, I don't know. When I was doing the MDA, I kind of got the message like twice a year. Don't do it more than twice a year, as a kind of a general advice for people in general. It wasn't just me. Like, because it can be a little too good. If you do it twice a year and you keep it to twice a year, you'd generally be all right. Yeah, it's I don't even know. Raves have MDMA. I'm not sure how much it goes for, actually. If you think about something, it will show up in reality. If you think about it more than you think about the opposite of it. Like, if you think about getting rich, but you think about being poor like 10 times more than you think about being rich, then guess which one's going to win? So I think that's the trick of it, you know? And of course, when you're poor, it's hard to not think about it, or to like think about the other thing in a more positive way. So it's like, where is your attention getting pulled? You know, and I think that's some of the tricky part. And certainly there are poor people who just kind of get happy and stop worrying about it. They manage to do that. It's not the easiest thing in the world, but in Australia it's illegal, but you can get it from the doctors. Yeah, that's how it is here too. You can get a script for it. And then, though, if you do it that way, and then you go through the licensed practitioners, it is so expensive. It is insanely expensive. It's like $13,000 or something. It's like nobody's going to afford that unless your insurance pays for it. Money isn't something that entities will give you. No, it's just programming the matrix, basically. They don't give it to you. You give it to you with your attention and how you use your brain. You basically change your energy to match the energy that would bring that. But again, it can be challenging to change your energy because it's basically changing your basic way of feeling and thinking. I don't have a trip sitter. You know, so for these, I would say if you take a small dose, you generally don't need that. But you sneak up on it. Just take a little tiny dose, see how you do, that kind of thing. I mean, like if you took 1 gram of magic mushrooms, you're just barely starting to feel it at that point. They give you syncs that they choose. I tend to think, you know, I got my theory. I can't prove it. I see things that have nothing to do with benefiting me. I think sometimes, or a lot of times, you don't really fully understand what will benefit you. Like you think this will make you happy, you get it, you're not happy. Or you have some lesson you got to learn in order to get to there. You don't really want to learn that lesson because it's hard. You know, so I think that's a lot of it. And yeah, again, if just showing you weird crap over and over kind of reminds you how reality works, that is also a benefit. Hopefully. All right, well, I think most people have gone home and it is 2 hours. So I'm going to go now. Kind of a quiet night today. I think I've covered everything. How many heavens? Xenoparity. All right. That's it then. Thank you so much for coming. You know the drill. Think good thoughts, everybody. This is Eva signing off for Once Upon a Timeline.